Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna all.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna.
You started live streaming, so I cancelled the chanting.
Okay.
It used to be after we close that.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
We'll start with the prayers. We'll start with the prayers. I think one more minute is there. Yes, we can start. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaya Kadamahyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashatadeshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hara Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Govindaya Namaha Shri Krishna Hari Bol, Gopala Hari Bol, Radha Ramana Govinda Hari Bol. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Welcome you all to the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita today. Yesterday we have completed the Bhakti Yoga chapter, that the middle 6 chapters are called as the Bhakti Yoga chapter, wherein we have completed. Now from today onwards, that is the 13th chapter to 18th chapter, are the Jnana Yoga chapter. Okay, so it is something like current affairs, day-to-day interaction with the material nature, like different modes, and what are the interactions and what are the results of that. And what exactly is the body? Who is the ruler of the body? So various things like what is required for a devotee to do in a day-to-day affairs to be in a mode of a good sattva guna and to be in a mode of a shuddha sattva guna. So the characteristics and the prerequisites, all those things will be discussed in these 6 chapters. So basically 5 chapters, I can say, that is from 13 to 17 chapters. 18 chapter is just a summary. Okay. So before we can proceed on to today's chapter, quick recap what exactly we have learned yesterday. Can anybody remember? Hare Krishna. Whatever you, let it be wrong. Okay. But please speak something. Okay. You can speak, Mataji. Kriti Mataji, you can speak. So Bhakti Yoga is the highest perfection of yoga, isn't it? It's the highest yoga of all. And in the Bhakti Yoga, again, it is the personal bhakti which is more important. And how do you practice personal bhakti? We have to concentrate on the deity form of Lord Krishna, that is a Shyamasundara form. If somebody is not able to concentrate on the deity form, then what they have to do is follow the 4 regulative principles. Even if they're not able to follow the 4 regulative principles, then what they have to do? Yes.
Engage in service by doing something towards the God, Lord Krishna. That is one of the ways.
Okay. Ultimately, you renounce, isn't it? By putting all your senses in the service of the Lord, you renounce. Okay. Yeah. So that is how you progress in the bhakti. So today is totally, this is a different chapter, Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. So some problem with my slideshow. That's why I'm showing you like this. So here in this again has Arjuna questions do continue, he'll be asking continuously to Lord Krishna. Okay, he'll be asking the question in the text 1. And further he will Lord Krishna will be elaborating about the what is Kshetra, what is Kshetrajna, what is the Jnanam and all. And the process continues in the next chapters. And what is the object of knowledge? What is Prakriti, Purusha and the union, and Jnana Chakshu, that is vision of a knowledge. So these are the things which we are going to learn today. Yeah. If the Bhakti is the conclusion of 12th chapter, then why is the Jnana presented in the last 6 chapters? That means, it is exactly what I can say is, if you come to a clinic, you'll be diagnosed with one disease, or not everyone, but a patient come to a clinic, then he will be based on the clinical signs and symptoms and history and all, he will be given a tag of one disease process. Okay, that you are suffering from this, and next follows the course of treatment, like a medication, some exercises, rehabilitation, diet, everything and all. So that comes as a supplementary thing, isn't it? So similarly, so what is the ultimate thing which will reach you Krishna is a bhakti. Okay, for that conclusion we have come yesterday. But how do you go about in that? There is certain rules and regulation. There is a process by which you progress further. All those things will be discussed in this next chapter. That is the reason why these are called as the Jnana Yoga chapters. Hare Krishna. I want one devotee volunteer to read this.
I will read it.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
In the truth, the entire Bhagavad Gita is Bhakti. The first 6 chapters discuss how to achieve Bhakti through work. The last 6 describe how to achieve it through knowledge. And the middle 6 discuss Bhakti itself. Also in the 12th chapter, Krishna explained how he personally delivers his devotees from birth and death. So the last 6 chapters provide philosophical knowledge necessary to extricate oneself from the material world. Jnana has its use in assisting our detachment from Maya and our attachment to Krishna. Hence, we use knowledge as a means to attain devotion. It becomes a part of bhakti.
Yeah. When you lit a lamp, automatically the darkness will go, isn't it? So if you are knowledgeable about Lord and if you have a knowledge about Krishna, automatically your ignorance towards the other things, which we usually encounter will go away. So similarly, these chapter will show us the light which is required for us to be in that righteous path and what exactly has to be followed, which will be dealt in each chapter step by step. Okay. Yeah, I wanted one devotee volunteer to read this.
Mataji, shall
Yes,
I?
yes, please.
Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetra Janma Evacha Itad Veditum Ichhami Jnanam Neya Ma Cha Keshava. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetram Iti Abhidyate Itad Yo Veti Tam Prahu Kshetranya Iti Tad Vidaha. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so this chapter, these are the 6 questions which are asked by Arjuna. What is that? He's asking what is Prakriti, what is Purusha, and what is Kshetra, and what is Kshetrajna, what is the Jnanam, and what is the Jnayam. Okay, so Prakriti means the material nature which is there around us. Okay, and Purusha is the enjoyer of the Prakriti, which is the Lord himself, that is Lord Krishna. And Kshetra is the body which all of us possess. And Kshetrajna is the observer in the body, soul, and the super soul, that is the knower of the bodies, that is the super soul, Lord Krishna. Okay, and Jnayam is the knowledge, Jnanam is the knowledge, understanding the body and the controller of the body, and Jnayam is the goal of that is the Paramatma. He is the one who shows that knowledge which is required for us to progress further. So here, what is the difference between the soul and the Lord? Anybody have any idea? Please, they can give your inputs.
Mataji, soul is a part of the Lord. They say the 10,000 part of the tip of the hair.
Follicle, yeah.
Mataji, so Lord Krishna is a Param Atma and we are Jeev Atma. So we are again part and parcel of Super Soul only. So, and since we are part and parcel of Krishna, so we also have the traits which our Lord have, but only thing is his soul is supreme and we are part of this material.
Minute particle.
Minute particle, Mataji, yes.
So soul is for a particular body only, and super soul, that is Paramatma, that is situated in all the living entity.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah, Kshetrajnamapi mam vidhi sarva kshetresu bharasa kshetra kshetrajnyo jnanam yattat jnanam matam mama. So, Sion of Bharata, you should understand that I am knower in all the bodies, and to understand this body and its owner is called the knowledge. That is my opinion. Okay. Here we have an analogy, in the Bhagavad Gita textbook, where it has been compared to that of, what do you say? Yeah, Priti Matadi, yes, what you have written in the chat box is fine. What she writes is qualities are same, the quantity of potencies are different, like gold and the gold mine. Yes, but we have to elevate it to that level. We are in the process, I can say. Say suppose a kingdom is there and the citizens of kingdom are there. So a person, individual person who is living in that kingdom will know about his piece of land. Okay. but he'll not be knowing about the other citizens who are living in that particular village or area or that particular region. Okay, he'll know only about him. So that is the kshetra's limitation. That is the body limitations only remain to self. Whereas the king knows about the land and well-being, about all the citizens who are there in that particular region. So the king is compared to the Lord, and we are compared to that living entity, the individual citizens who are particularly living in that particular area. Okay, so I think this is clear. So Lord is for all, you know, he knows about each and every living entities, their well-being, and he take care of everything. But whereas we individual souls are concentrating only on our well-being and about ourselves. Okay, Hare Krishna. So different stages of consciousness. Okay, anybody have any idea? Please give your inputs. So the soul is there in every living entity, right? As some of you have told right now. And above the soul, you got a subtle body, you know. That means mind, false ego, and intelligence. Okay. These three entities, you know, they interact with the material nature in three different modes. That is Sattva, Raja, and Tamo Guna. And they present a different reaction to that. Okay. The soul is clean. It has got nothing to do with it. It got one vehicle like a body, which is the gross body. The red color circle, what you're able to see is the gross body, which all of us possess. And the soul, which is in yellow color, which is possessed, which all of us are having, isn't it? That is the element of Lord Krishna in each and every living entity, isn't it? So apart from these two, there is another body called a subtle body, which is made up of this false ego, intelligence, and knowledge. This, when it get it interacted, produces the reaction. Say, suppose what all emotions we express, or the feelings, all these things, our actions, everything is the subtle body, you know. Even after the death of a person, it is a subtle body which undergo all the punishments for the good and bad karma, what we have understood. So the soul will go and get liberated and will go to the Paramatma. The body will decompose and it will be put in and by different means. But it is a subtle body which will go and form the different actions and all those things. Okay. Hare Krishna. This is a beautiful picture of it's a hand painting. Yeah, I wanted one devoted volunteer to read this. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
ऋषिभिर् बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधे पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्यते. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So these are the different type of what do you say, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. Different stage of consciousness. The moment you know about it, then you go further and further. The Anandamaya is the ultimate happiness, you know. Yeah, I wanted a devotee volunteer to read this.
Mataji.
Yes, please.
Mahabhutane ahankaro buddhir avyaktam eva cha indriyani dasaikam cha pancha chendriya gaucharah ichha dvesha sukham dukham sanghatas chetana dritya etat kshetram samasayena savikrama udhartam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The five great elements: false ego, intelligence, and unmanifested 10 senses, the mind, the five sense organs, sense object, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, all these things, the aggregate life symptoms and convictions, all those are considered in summary are the field of activities and its interaction. So whatever the emotional, mental, and speculative, whatnot, the how do we interact with the material nature is all the outcome of that. Okay. Five sense organs, five working organs are your hands, legs, and mouth, the anus, genitals. These are the five working sense organs, and your mind is another one, and your intelligence, false ego, all these things. When it interact with the prakriti in a different way, the sattva, raja, and tamo guna, so will be the actions. Okay. These are the five organs, and is the intelligence, and is the soul. Okay. Once the soul is pleased by service of the Lord, automatically all this will be under control, isn't it? It will not go here and there. But if these controls you, if the sense organs control, then is it possible for this charioteer to go forward? No. So our aim is to calm down and have a balance. That means our soul should be surrendered onto the Lord. Then Lord will take care of everything. He will take care of all these five sense organs. Yeah. Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa shanti rajyavam acharyopasanam socham stairyam atma vinigraha indriyardheshu vairagyam ahankara mevacha janna mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam asaktiranavi swanga putradara grahadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtani इष्टानिष्टोपत्सितु मयि चानन्य योगेन भक्ति अव्याभिचारिणी विविक्ता च सचे सेवितम् विविक्ता देश सेवितम् आरतिर्ज्ञान संसधि अध्यात्मा ज्ञान नित्यात्वं तत्वा ज्ञानार्थ दर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानम् इति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यद्दतोऽन्यथा. Hare Krishna. I want one devotee volunteer to read this translation.
Mataji, translation for shlok itself.
This
Okay.
one.
Okay. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the object of the sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of evil of birth, old age and disease, deep detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So actually all these entities will be discussed in detail in chapter 16, These are all called divine qualities: the humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity. So all this comes under the divine qualities. And yes, of course, to cultivate our progressiveness in Krishna consciousness and increase a spiritual journey and to go forward, we always have to take a shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, isn't it? So here, what do you say? Like if you are getting enrolled in a school or a college, we take shelter of a teacher or the lecturer or the professor, isn't it, to get a right degree so that it is helpful for us in the future to. So similarly, once we have taken up the spiritual path, we always have to take the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, because he's the expertise in that. He has seen everything before and he'll be able to guide us properly in that. Okay, and how a devotee should be. So he should be free from all sort of entanglement, that is janma mrityu jara vyadhi, that is birth, disease, old age, and death, and detachment from all entanglements, the relationships and all, because he knows that these are all temporary, and equal reaction towards what do you say, good as well as the bad, or any distressful or a pleasing situation. So he should be self-realized. So a person, if he is going forward like this, then he is said to be in the mode of realization. Rest all is the ignorance. Yeyam yatyatra vakshami yajnatvam ritanashnute anandi matparamam brahma nasatta nasaduchyate. I shall now explain the knowledge, knowing which you will taste the eternal Brahman, the spirit, the beginningless, and the subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. So once we have a knowledge about the Lord, then we don't have any that it is something like, if you taste the higher one, higher taste, then you will not crave for the lower taste things, isn't it? So similarly, once we have taken spiritual path, especially the Krishna Bhakti, it comes only to the people who wanted to get liberated out of so much of karma, so much of entanglement, so much of what do you say, your journey in the material life and all. A point will come where you come to a stage of realization. Then only you will be simply out of our will not become a devotee. It is a part of our journey which Krishna decides. Not everybody is so fortunate enough to come to the stage of liberation. Only people who wanted to get liberated will take up the path of Krishna Bhakti. Okay, so once we are in that, and he will give you the required knowledge, which is what do you say, which will take us further in this path of bhakti. Sarvendriya gunabhasham sarvendriya vivarjitam asaktam sarvabhrichaiva nirgunam gunabhoktacha. So the super soul is the original source of all senses, because he is a seed-giving father, and definitely whatever we are possessing in this material body is ultimate. He is the owner of it. Yet he is without senses, he is unattached. Although he is the maintainer of all living entities, he transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all modes of material nature. See, again, in a deeper level, if you think, whatever the interactions, what we are doing in a day-to-day life, whether it's a good or a bad, all those things, it's a part of a karma, okay, which we are entitled to, what do you say, bear it, and that come, what do you say, good karma or bad karma, some are totally, they got ripened and ready to eat, something like a fruit, okay. Some are which are about to get matured, okay. And some are getting in the process of getting maturity. Some are in the stage of a seed, okay. Similarly, our good karma and bad karma, if they are in the stage of a seed, we will not yield any benefit out of it, okay. They are dormant. In the process of getting maturity, it may get matured in the course of time when we are alive, and we may enjoy the benefit of it. It may happen, may not happen, and we only enjoy the benefit, good karma or bad karma of our previous karma, which are come to a maturity level, okay, and which have fructified, okay. So this is with reference to, like, many people will say, like, I did so much of good karma and charity work, but still I was not getting the yield out of it. What is the reason? So this is what, maybe it didn't get to that yielding stage. It is still in the process. That is the reason why you are not enjoying the benefit out of. Similarly, if somebody is doing wrong and all, so we say that that person, he escaped despite doing all the wrong things and all. So this is applied to that also, because it didn't come to that stage of fructification, or it is not yet ripened to enjoy the benefit or the result out of it, okay. So similarly, though Krishna has given us all the sense organs, the working sense organs, and interactions with the Prakriti and all, but he is totally detached. His work is to give provide us the necessary things, but the interactions what we are doing, it is totally depending on ourselves. So he does not nothing contaminates him, or he is totally unattached to all these things. Bahirantascha bhutanam charameva cha sukshmatvat tat avijneyam durastham chantike chatat. So the supreme truth exists both internally and externally, and the moving and the non-moving. He is beyond the power of material senses, and to see or to know, although far, far away, he is also near to all. So he'll be distantly seeing activities day in and day out. But he is just a spectator. Okay, whatever we are doing, we are totally owners, and we take the result of it. Okay. Why is the nature of super soul contradictory? Yeah, anybody have any inputs?
Mataji, contradictory in what sense?
That's what I'm telling. He's the owner, and he is one who has given us all the sensors, working sensors, but still he's not attached to all these things. Analogy I can give you, say, suppose a judge is sitting in a court and he is giving a judgment, but he is not attached to any sort of good or bad things which are happening in the court. Got it?
Yeah, this is quite nice question. Yeah. Because he is neutral to everyone, but dear only for his devotees. So, yeah, that's why Lord is unattached. But he does love. He has special love for all those all the devotees who surrender to him with all their faith.
Yeah. Chanda Mataji, she writes he's neutral for everyone. Yeah, true, Mataji. I think rightly said. Yeah, we'll move on further. The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all living entities, the moving and non-moving, because he is subtle. He is beyond the power of material senses, and to see or to know, although far, far away, he is near to all. Okay. Yes, he is a part and parcel of, because if you remember, in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, superior and inferior energy. Can anybody remember what is the superior energy? What is inferior energy? Superior energy is the spiritual energy of the Lord, which is non-perishable, ever existing and all.
Inferior material energy.
Yes, inferior is material energy. We all come under material energy, isn't it? So even material energy belongs to Krishna, but he is not attached to any of the activities what we are doing. Only we take that ownership of the activities which we are doing. He is a source of light in all luminous object. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is the knowledge. He is the object of knowledge. He is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. So that light within is there in each and every living entity. So our focus of taking up this bhakti and spiritual path is to invoke, to make that light shine, and see that it is not covered with any sort of a dust and all. Okay. Jyoti sammapi tat jyoti samasa paramuchyate jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. Yeah, I think this is a common question which has been asked. Observe these two birds and what is the difference? One bird which is having a Jivatma, one bird where is having a Paramatma. Any inputs?
One bird is like attached to Krishna, like free of all the desires of this material world, and another one is like seen enjoying the material nature that like Lord has created. And yeah, it another thing we can think of, like maybe in his last form, like he was an old man thinking of some bird, and now in the next life again he got the like life of bird, so still enjoying the material pleasures, but the other one is free of this and engaged in service of Lord.
One is Jivatma and one is Paramatma. Which is Jivatma? Which is Paramatma? Please tell Prabhu.
Jivatma is the one with there's a man like drawn on the bird, the below one, and Paramatma is like about this one.
Yes. So we are all living entities like Jivatma, enjoying all the material benefits which are there in the material nature, whereas the Paramatma is just observing us. He's there constantly with us, but he's just observing the activity. Iti kshetram tatha jnanam jnanam choktam samasata madbhakta eta vijnaya madbhavayopap adyate. So thus the field of activity is the body, which we possess. The knowledge and the knowledgeable have been summarily described by me, by Lord Krishna. Only my devotees, that means the devotees of Lord Krishna, can understand this thoroughly and thus attain my nature. Okay. The details of this will be known indeed when you go to the next level of studies like NOD and all. Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, where the devotion service has been explained in detail. But a pure devotee who is surrendered to the Lord, only he can understand about the bhakti and everything, like what Lord is explaining here, the senses, enjoyer of the senses, but he's unattached and all that. That one has to feel it is it's a practical thing. One has to experience as a devotee. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhiyandi Anubhavapi Vikarams Gunams Chaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. So material nature and the living entity should be understood to be beginningless, because there is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. This is continuing. We take birth and all stages we go through and we die. And the Lord is there eternal and Prakriti is existing, and the transformations in the modes of nature are the product of the material nature. So by which we come in contact with the material nature, so are the end results of it. What is the role of association leading to 84 lakh species? Hare Krishna. Any inputs on this?
Mataji, I can try.
Yes.
Mataji, human form is the most evolved of all the 84 lakh species, right? And if we are not in the right association in our life, association of devotees of Krishna, then we may not be able to get next human form or any other down, species which are a much lower version. That's my thought.
So do you think the animals which are born will not get liberated?
I don't know, Madhavi. They should get liberated. They're not supposed to be born back as animals, but I don't know how. Probably they are born in family of devotees. They're not born, but they are in association of the devotees through some way, like we may have pets at home. That is one way of them getting liberated. Not sure of other ways, but my two cents.
Yes.
Yeah, even I have one point. Like what I have heard is, like after passing through all the 84 lakhs of species, then we get this human form. And if we are still wasting this human like human birth in all the material pleasure, then again in next life it is very much possible that we may be born into one of these species, and again this cycle would repeat, because we are the most evolved species, and we have that intelligence with us too. We know so we can easily understand the Supreme Lord and his nature when it as compared to the other species. So that is why the association is very much right association is very much important when it comes for liberation, especially association of devotees. Actually, I mean to say.
I'll tell you a story for this. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Karyakarana kartavtve hetu prakriti uchyate purusha sukha dukkhanam bhoktritve hetu uchyate. Nature is said to be the cause of all material activities and effect, whereas living entity is the cause of all various sufferings and enjoyment in this world. Okay. Yeah, we have an interaction, but it is all nobody is going to spoil us, nobody is going to elevate us. It is ourselves, and our interaction with the material nature, the end result is that. Okay, so we are the sole cause for our suffering. Purusha prakriti stohi bhumte prakriti janguna karanam guna sangosyo sadasad yoni janmasu. So the living entity in material nature thus follow the ways of life, enjoys the three modes of material nature, that is sattva, raja and tamoguna. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets the good and evil amongst the various species. It is, if you see, devotee wanted devotee association. Similarly, if you see the people who are gambling, they wanted other gamblers. So what is our state of mind? We tend to attract that sort of a people in our life. Okay. We are in a good mode, and we don't come across the bad people and all. Even that means, even if we come across also, sometimes we are elevated so much in the goodness and all, we try to see only good in that person also. Okay. So whatever is happening in a day-to-day life, it's based on our nature, which exists within ourselves. So all of us have this sattva, raja and tamoguna within ourselves. So some amount of fraction will be there. Totally nobody will be a sattva guna, nobody will be a tamoguna, nobody will be a rajoguna. So taking up devotion service and being in devotee association, your percentage of sattva guna goes up. Okay, that is what is the criteria. What are the two things that super soul does? Yes, Hare Krishna, any inputs?
It tries to guide the soul. One of the things.
You take one step forward towards me, I will take 10,000 steps towards you. That's what Lord Krishna says. Okay. We have to take that intuition, consciousness should be driven towards God activities. So once we in that path, automatically he will show us the light. Upadrashthanumattanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara paramatmeti cha piyukto dehesmin purusha para. So yet in this body there is another transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord. Okay, the supreme proprietor who exists in overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul. So within the body also he observes, but he take part, and he always he's so merciful towards us. Whatever activity we are doing, he support us. But our duty is to awaken our consciousness and go back to our home, that is back to Godhead. Ya evam veti purusham prakritim cha gunasaha sarvata vardhamanopi nasa bhuyo vijayate. So one who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity and the interactions of modes of nature is sure to attain the liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. So here is an example of Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj is the only lone survivor of the Pandava dynasty, and he was a great king, and his kingdom, everybody was very happy and all. And at one point of time, when he go to the forest for hunting and all, he's cursed by a Muni that he will die within a week and all. So when he know only 1 week is left in his life and all, he take the shelter of Sukadeva Goswami, where he impart him the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he says, try to complete Srimad Bhagavatam in this 1 week, and definitely you're not going to come back to this material world. So no matter what we are, where we are, what we are doing, and what sort of activities we are engaged in, once we have realized that we don't want to come back to the cycle of birth and death, definitely, shortly, we will take a step towards progressing bhakti by taking the shelter of bona fide spiritual master. Here we have an example of Sukadeva Goswami, and try to get liberated. Dhyayanenatma nipashyanti kechidatmanamaatmana अन्ये shakyena suyogena sankhena yogena karma yogena chapare. So some perceive the super soul within themselves through the meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through the working through the fruitive desires. So some people meditate upon the Lord and they try to establish the connection with the Lord, some by reading the scriptures, and others by working towards the Lord by day-to-day affairs and all those things, like doing the Mangalarti, attending the temple, and doing some service in the temple, and all these activities will take us, like how we have discussed in yesterday's chapter. Anye tva evam ajnata shrutan Shrutvanyebhya upasate tepi chatita ranti eva mrityum shruti parayana. So again, there are those who are not conversant in a spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authority, they also transcend the path of birth and death. See, not everybody will be in a stage of reading the scriptures and getting liberated. So some people out of 9 devotional type of 9 types of devotion service, Shravanam is first and foremost, which will take you to the liberation. If somebody is able to hear the scriptures also, ultimately they will be relieving from the cycle of birth and death. Okay. Yavat sanjayate kinchet sattvam stavara Jangamam Kshetra Kshetragna Samyoga Tadvidhi Bharatarshava. So chief of Bharata, whether whatever you see in existence, both living, moving and non-moving, the only combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. So when this is space programs, what it is depicted here, or any sort of material activity which are happening, building a skyscrapers or moving trains or an aeroplane, or the media, technology, everything. These are all the combinations of various activities which are taking place based on the interaction with the material nature, and Krishna knows this. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtanam parameshwaram vinashvatva avinasyantam ya pashyati sapashyati. So one he sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understand that neither the soul nor the super soul is ever destroyed, usually sees the Paramatma. Because here you can see the a devotee who is elevated, and he can see the same soul in all the living entities which are there around him. So such a person will see the is said to be an elevated. He will not differentiate anybody by the body they possess, Samam pashyam hi sarvatra samavastinam ishwaram na hinasti Atmanatmanam tato yati param gatim. One who sees the super soul in every living being and equal everywhere does not degrade himself by his mind, because he knows all living entities which are there around him, there is a super soul residing in all of them. So he will not try to look upon like this is a dog, this is a cat, this is a chandala, this is. So he will not try to differentiate. So such a person who, a devotee who has attained to such a stage, is definitely sure to reach the abode of Krishna, that is Goloka. Prakritaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashaya pashyanti tatatmanam akartaram sapashyati. One who sees his activities are performed by the body, which is created by material nature, and he sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. See, we are engineered, like if you can see this body, but the soul within is the guiding force. Based on the nature in which we are there at present, so will be our action. If Sattva-guna is there, we would like to do the devotion service. If Rajoguna is there, we will run behind the things, the material things and all that. And Tamoguna is there, we will try to be associated with the bad people and do all the antisocial things. So, Lord has created the material body, but the activities what we are doing is totally depending on the material nature in which the nature which we are there at the present. How do we explain this statement? The self does nothing. What do you mean by self in this? Anybody please give you their inputs? Hare Krishna.
Not directly, Mataji, but I would say that although the soul and the super souls are part of Krishna and they want to do good, but our material body is so surrounded by Maya that we get distracted and kind of overlook what soul or super soul wants us to do, or what's the right path to God, to Godhead. That's my interpretation.
The self does nothing means here is the super soul which is there in every living entity, It is there, but whatever the interaction, what we are doing, the end result is our mode in which we are there and its interaction with the material nature. Okay, the super soul has nothing to do with that. Yatra sarvagatam soksmat asmakam nopalipyate sarvatra vasishto dehe tatatmanopalipyate. The sky, due to a subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in the Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in the body. So if you remember one slide I have shown you in earlier when we have started the class, in the earlier slides, soul which is in yellow color and gross body is in red color, and that is a subtle body, isn't it? The soul is totally free from all these interactions. The subtle body is the one which undergo various interactions with the material thing, and so will be the result, and it is the one it's going to take the punishment also. And the gross body, it will be there as long as we are alive, and once we leave this material body, it will perish. Okay, so the soul which is there, that is the super soul which is there inside, it has got nothing to do with the interactions what a body is doing. Yatha prakash sayatati ekah krishnam lokam imam ravi kshetram kshetritita krishnam prakasayati bharata. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminate all this universe, so does the living entity. One within the body illuminates the entire body by consciousness. So if we are enlightened within, okay, automatically that positiveness is radiating throughout your body. Okay, that all of you can make it out, isn't it? If you are in a positive mode, then the whole day goes in a positive thing. Even if some sort of encounter of any small objectionable thing happens also, you take it in a right way. Okay, similarly, if you are there in the mode of an ignorance and the passion, so you will take forward. So the ultimate aim of being in a bhakti and taking up this Krishna consciousness is that you need to go towards, take a forward step towards eliminating your inner consciousness, so that you become more towards the Lord and progress towards the bhakti. Okay. Kshetra kshetragnayorevam antaram jnana chakshusa bhuta prakriti moksham cha yevi dhuryanti te param. One who knowingly sees the difference between the body and the owner of the body can understand the process of liberation from this bondage and also attain the supreme goal. So coming to the chapter summary, Arjuna is asking about the 6 questions which I have told, like about the body, the knower of the body, the Prakriti, the Purusha, the enjoyer, knowledge, and the Jnayam. So the descriptions of the Kshetra and Kshetrajna are been discussed, and the process of acquiring knowledge. What is the object of knowledge, the Purusha and the union, and how the super soul is totally different from all these things, and how the vision help us to move forward. So these are all we have discussed today. Hare Krishna. Any doubts? Any questions?
Mataji, I have a question. Not this chapter, but in one of the earlier chapters, Prabhuji had taught that those who are unable to complete the bhakti are born in spiritual families, right? In their next birth, right? What does it mean when we say unable to complete the bhakti? Can you please explain that? Actually, I was reading this thing on self-realization. If the unsuccessful spiritual aspirants are offered such chances of noble patronage, what of those who have actually attained the required success? Basically, even if half-finished guarantees a good birth in the next life. So what does it mean when we say half-finished bhakti?
I think I have told you that example of the seed getting immature, maturity, and ripened ones. So whatever which is destined to be, okay, whether it's a spiritual practice or the benediction to be born in a good family, not necessarily you should be born. If you take an example of Prahlad Maharaj, he was born in a Daitya family, isn't it? But still he got liberated and he made his 21 generation of the family to get liberated, right? So it's all about our personal, what do you say, this karma, which is getting, if we are in the stage of liberation, and definitely he will show us the path by which we get liberated. If we are not in that, definitely we are not going to, we'll be maintaining the status quo. Again, we come back to the cycle of birth and death or to the other species. So not necessarily that. Yes, but they do say if we have done some amount of bhakti and we have reached certain age from next janma onwards, we may get into the good family, which is favorable for us. But again, depends from person to person.
Okay. Mataji, it means that a person's journey to bhakti is also again the wish of Krishna. Somebody, I mean, there has to be, like you said, one step from me and then 10,000 steps from Krishna. But that one step from me is also controlled by Krishna.
Krishna's decision to be his devotees. We can't choose to be his devotees.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pankaj Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, so in one of the starting slides, you showed like Krishna is asking us to be detached from our wife, children. So, but in a Vedic system, we know that we follow 3 ashramas, like it's a sannyasi, brahmachari, and grahastha ashrama. But one who is in the grahastha ashrama, so how can like one be detached from their like family, because again they are part of this grahastha, so they have to do all those duties and whatever they are bound to, because they have chosen this ashram. So then in what sense Krishna means to be detached from wife?
Slide, it is the generalized statement for the devotee who wanted to progress further. It was not specific to Grihastha devotees who are married and having kids.
Okay.
See, what I can say, only Krishna can be in your heart or your relatives. So once you have taken up the path of bhakti, whom you wanted to put there?
Yeah, of course, Krishna. But again, Mataji,
You're not refraining from your responsibilities. You're prioritizing him. You are taking care of all the responsibilities. See, there are so many apart from brahmacharis. Okay. There are grihasthas also who are a great devotees. So aren't they taking care of the responsibilities? They are taking care, but they are a great devotees. How? Krishna is the priority. Rest everything else will fall into place.
Okay, Mataji, got it. So it means that they are fulfilling all the duties and responsibility again, just as a service to Krishna, and at the same time, the love which is there for it's like permanent love and like very much stable. So it is only for the Krishna.
Say, suppose a husband and wife are there. Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
They can be, then when they are married, they can be together, which is allowed in, as per the principles, when she is fertile, okay? Rest of the time, they can do great service to Krishna, cooking bhoga for Krishna, decorate him. You can do a lot of service to Krishna, isn't it?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. So likewise, in Grihastha Ashrama, you can do service to many people who are coming your home, and you can do donations, isn't it?
Yes.
So whatever path you take, whether you being a brahmachari or a grihastha, okay? But the ultimate goal is, once you have realized, yes, this is what is my ultimate destination is that, then it is clear. The Krishna says here, don't get entangled in relationship, because your ultimate goal is to reach me.
Okay. Got it. But what if one of the partner is not a devotee, unfortunately?
Leave it to Krishna. Why we have to take care? He is there now within us. He will take care. What is right for us, he will give us at the right time. And what is not fit for us, he will take away that.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions?
Madam, yesterday's video is not uploaded now.
Video I didn't record, Prabhu, because yesterday my laptop ka problem tha. I didn't go live and I didn't record also.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I have just one small question. Like, if there are no questions in chat, yeah, so we are learning so many things, like all these 13 chapters till now. So yeah, it's quite little bit strange to see, like in within 45 minutes, this entire knowledge was given to Arjuna, just in 45 minutes, because this for us to understand it is taking one hour plus for each chapter. So maybe I'm asking lame question, right? But is it really like it took only 45 minutes, or is it just few chapters which are actually spoken by Krishna? But everywhere we can see Bhagwan Uvacha, even in 13th chapter also. So,
Arjuna
yeah.
is a very elevated devotee. So where Lord has shown his Vishwarupa Sandarshana to him, as well as the 400 Narayana form, are we that elevated devotees, Prabhu?
No, Mataji, we are like very
Then
tiny.
how can we understand Bhagavad Gita in 45 minutes? No, definitely. So Arjuna is the right choice, and he's say it is something like quality control. What you say in all this thing, you take the standard things which give the standard test results in a standard time without any deviation, isn't it? So here we can say the Krishna is the quality control. Like he can deliver everything in the right time, at the right place, and the right thing and all. So he's been taken as an example, and he's the right person to receive it. So we are fortunate enough by the grace of Namanishdas Prabhuji that we got this free Bhagavad Gita classes and all. Somewhere the knowledge is getting into our mind. So we should be grateful to NND Prabhuji. It's all his efforts.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Deepa Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा एक्चुअली टाइम होता है नॉलेज मिलने का ये सब इज इज द टाइम कि हमको वो उसी टाइम पे मिलेगा, नॉलेज फिक्स होता है कि और किसी किसी को ही मिले ज्ञान प्राप्त होगा ये गीता का?
माता जी अपने अपने बोला था ना कि जब अपना टाइम आएगा और हमको मिलना होता है, जैसे ध्रुव महाराज को मिल गया बचपन में, प्रहलाद महाराज को मिल गया था बहुत बचपन में, हाँ कि नहीं? और
हाँ जी।
हमको ये एज में मिल रहा है। और किसी किसी को भक्ति जल्दी प्राप्त होती है, किसी किसी को बीच उम्र में प्राप्त होती है। वो जब तक कि वो पूरे पिछले कर्मा जो भी होता है वो खत्म होके जब अपना एलिजिबिलिटी आता है तभी जाकर के हमको ये मिलता है। और कृष्णा चुनते हैं अपने भक्त को, हमको वो व्हाट इज से एलिजिबिलिटी आना चाहिए, हम उस काबिल बनना चाहिए, तभी जाकर के भगवान सोचते कि हाँ ये मेरी भक्त बन सकती है।
ओह, कृष्णा चूजेस अस लाइक।
यस यस।
ओके, थैंक यू माता जी। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्ण।
Mataji, I have put a question in chat and I can read the question.
Yeah.
At macro level, Mataji, are any efforts made to incorporate Gita knowledge in schools in India? I have seen that there is no subject called moral science also these days. Back in my childhood, I had that. But are we thinking as ISKCON as an organization, talking to government of India or education ministers and all of that to incorporate Gita?
Yes, your plea petition, whatever I can say, it is been heard by the Indian government. They are incorporating Gita in the CBSE board. I think soon we'll be having a Gita classes for all the school students.
Wonderful. That's a good news. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Mataji, now you said that Krishna will select us, but it is already destined as to what will happen in the future. So how can that how do we know whether Krishna has selected us or not? Like
we are in the path of the purification, no Mataji. We are already in the selection list. We just have to do our sadhana.
Oh, okay. That's a good news for us then.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Chanda Mataji, just right, like Mataji, how can we control our senses? We have to surrender our soul to Krishna. Do the sadhana, read Bhagavad Gita, attend Mangalarti, attend the Bhagavatam class in the morning, try to complete rounds. At least start with a 1 round, increase it to 2 rounds. At least after you get up in the morning, first thing is doing a 1 round of chanting. Before going to bed, do 1 round of chanting. Krishna will take care of everything. You don't have to do anything to control your senses.
And Mataji, I have one more question. Like, say, for example, if I'm cooking, while cooking, can I just keep telling the Hare Krishna mantra, or is it that we should only sit in a place with the mala and do? Like, I do not use mala because, like, as I said, there's still a clash in the house as to whether we can follow this and that and all that. So in our thing, we don't use mala, so I'm using the fingers. Like I use the hand and do it.
See, Mataji, first thing, this is a meditation. This is a mantra meditation. Chanting is a mantra meditation. And people who are not devotees, they won't get up early in the morning also. We can use that time. Get up 10-15 minutes earlier. So if you can take bath, it's good. If you're not able to take bath also, take a mala, sit down and do it.
No, that's what I'm not using the mala. I'm using the fingers. Is that all right? Or should we use the mala for sure?
There is one benefit of just scrolling down the mala between your thumb as well as the middle finger. The benefits are more. Psychologically, that will benefit, and emotionally, it's going to help you out. Some process like this, will activate your brain centers, and it will give more beneficial effect rather than doing on the fingers.
Because in our family, I'm the only one who's attending these classes, and I'm trying to incorporate my son right now. But then, since like we do not, in our family, they say that we are not supposed to use the mala because I'm a Sumangali. So it will become very difficult to convince everybody in the house to accept using the mala.
Keep it in a puja room when you go to the puja. After you finish this routine thing, do one mala. Who is going to peep inside and see you and get up early?
It is not a question of peeping, right? It is about consciousness. when I have to, I mean, when somebody looks at it and when it is told not to be followed in the house, and if I'm following, it's going to be a clash, right?
Okay, go out for a walk in the morning, 10 minutes walk, 15 minutes walk, then you can do the mala during that time.
No, wherever I do, but it is just the mala that I'm not supposed to use. That's what they're telling. Whether it is in the house or outside.
Yeah, Mataji. See, I can say it is a Maya effect. You have to overcome that. So go out for a walk. Don't do anything at home. Go 10 minutes walk, 15 minutes walk, and take the mala with you. Finish up the one or two mala, and you come back.
Mataji, I
Basically,
have
Mataji-
one thing to add for Ranjini Mataji actually. Shall I just add something? It will be helpful, I think. So maybe it will help her. If you are permission, Mataji, shall I do it?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Ranjini Mataji, so actually, if you cannot have the mala at home now, so Mataji, there is one machine that is there where like tick machine. So if one time you chant the mantra, you just press the button and it keeps a count of your entire 100